What's up? What's up? Hey y'all. Hey everybody. Let me just make sure everything is working good. Hey, can y'all hear me okay? What's up? Hello. Y'all. Hey. Shout out to shout out to you, Dario. 2 phones. That's love. I really appreciate it. Um, hey Brittany. Yes, please hit that like on y'all way in. Sheena, what's up? Jedi Mike 7, what's up? Bruh man, hey, how you doing? What's up, everybody? Sierra, what's good? Hi. Um, what's up, y'all? So, a couple of things. This is my second time going live. I'm super excited because I was a part of I was watching another show earlier and they were talking about high value versus high quality men, and getting into the conversation and just hearing the differences that women desire or was very astounding to me. So I thought that we needed to kind of go deeper, dig a little bit deeper, and really get to the root, because when I hear the definition of a high quality man, um it kind of sounds very similar to a simp, just being honest. What you all would call a simp, okay? But not gonna get into it just yet. I'm gonna allow people to come in. So if you haven't already, hit that like button, share it, text your friends, call your friends, do what you gotta do. Also, PSA, public service announcement. Okay, are y'all ready for this? Um, Saturday, October 30th, right here on this channel, I am debuting a joint show with, drumroll please, I'm gonna get a little sound box or whatever, with Lucky. So Lucky and I are doing a show together. It's called Shoot Your Shot with Lauren and Lucky. I After the show and everything, I'll put up a little flyer to share on, in like a social media flyer to share on your Instagram and stuff. But we're really excited about the show. It's gonna be super dope. We're gonna be inviting singles to call in. It's not just about Lucky and I, but we're opening up the phone lines to singles if you want to meet somebody or not. So shout out to Lucky, who is the person that really that's birthed it. Like she's the brain of it all, right? So yeah. So who just got here? Big Von, I see Lucky. Hit the like, yes, please. Um that Asian millionaire surgeon whose wife was secretly a prostitute is a simp. He was definitely high quality, but still a simp. Cliff Huxtable was a simp. We're gonna get into it, right? The simp of all simps, Lorenz Tate, Love Jones, right? But these are the things. These are the things that women like. Like that's one of the reasons why women love the movie Love Jones. Was just the, oh, my heart is melting. Oh, like, right? That's just my opinion, right? Um So, anyways, we're about to get into it. So, welcome everybody. Lead, you finally made one of my lives. What's good? TJ is here. Shannon is here. Look at everybody coming in. Hey. Shout out to the lead attorney. Let's leave that there for 2 seconds. Shout out to the lead attorney. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Everybody say what's up to the lead attorney. All right, let's get into it. Troy, peace. Who said that? Peace. How do you say your name? I don't want to butcher it. but your picture is beautiful. Hey, pipe down, Lee. Pipe down. All right. I'm going to say the announcement one more time before I get into it. We got quite a few people. Public service announcement. Lucky and I are doing a show every Saturday. We're starting October 30th. So every Saturday, we are going live or streaming live on this channel. It's called Shoot Your Shot with Lauren and Lucky. And we are inviting all singles to call in. Okay. Singles call in. It's going to be a blast. We'll do like an introduction show to kind of orient you to the how it's going to go and flow, but we're going to have fun with it. Hope y'all rocking with us. I'm really excited that Lucky and I are going to have a show together because that's my homie that I actually met through YouTube. So super dope that we get to collab and be on the show together. Yes, Troy, call in. Call in for sure. Yes, shoot your shot. Shoot your shot. All right, let's get into it, shall we? We shall. But before I do that, let me like get out of my email because people are like still calling or emailing me from work. All right. So now that we got that situated, oh, y'all got questions about the show? Hold on, let me pump the brakes. Questions about Shoot Your Shot with Lauren and Lucky. Yes, high value men can call in, high quality men can call in, alpha men can call in, simps can even call in because there are some women who want a simp. Okay, no discrimination here. Okay, is it like speed dating? It could be. We will have some like questions to ask you. We'll invite people up. And this is a really good question. Who is the shot going towards? It's up to you. Okay. If you want to shoot your shot at Lucky, you have to do it publicly. Period. If you want to shoot your shot at me, let it be known. Okay. We are not hiding in the DMs. We are not hiding behind any trolling accounts. We're gonna make it plain. Also, before we get started, high value dusty men are allowed. Look, now what the chat says about these high value dusty men, I don't know if we will be able to protect you from the chat. So don't know. Okay. All right. So I am gonna allow y'all to call up soon. Mrs. B Finesse, yo, shout out to Mrs. B Finesse. Number one, she went live today, and I believe she was talking about high value men as well. So much content on the topic of high value men already like out there. So, you know, I'm not trying to recreate the wheel or anything, but shout out to her. She had a show today. Hi, first time visitor. Welcome. Hi. But Troy, yes, we want you to be a part. Okay. Let's regroup. We're gonna get right into it. If y'all have questions about the Shoot Your Shot with Lauren and Lucky, put it in the chat. I'm sure Lucky will respond. That's my homie. All right. So earlier this evening or earlier today, hey, shout out to Gail. I'm sorry. Shout out to Gail. Earlier today, Shannon Rawls went live on his channel. He said that was his first time going live in a couple months, which he is a phenomenal facilitator for sure. And phenomenal facilitator. But anyways, he wanted to talk about the difference between high value versus high quality men. He, you know, explained the differences, and then he invited people up to talk. And so shout out to Dana that was on there, Annette World Views was on there, and then myself. So I'm just going to recap. The differences between a high value man and a high quality man, in my opinion, right? I know there's a lot of information, like Kevin Samuels talks about a high value man, and y'all probably know his content from like the back of y'all hand, right? And what he talks about. But anywho, basically a high value man is one that has a salary of 6 figures and has maintained that salary for a few years. I think it's like 5 years. They're typically a part a network of other high value men, or has access to a network that's similar to a fraternity. And they typically sit in high in status, so they have some type of positionality wherever they work in whatever field or industry that they're in, and they are useful to other high value men, right? Given like the network that I described. So you're usually a part of a network of other high value men. And so 3 to 5 years per Kevin Samuels. Thanks, Gail. Yep. So with that being said, I'm like, okay, like I understand why women want high value men, right? We already know women want the best of the best, right? But when it came to high quality, I was like interested to hear like what that perspective is like, or not perspective of, or but like how you would define a high quality man. And so what I gathered from what a high quality man is, he's an alpha, he's a true alpha man, but he's nurturing, conscious and aware, mindful. He protects, he provides, but he also has this intimate connection with the woman that he's with. He's typically a teammate. He speaks the language that his woman can understand, so he's not necessarily harsh with his words or his ways. And he's not necessarily occupied with gender roles, and understands the need for communication, right? Also on the show, high value men were typically put into a category of like an asshole, right? Like they have asshole tendencies. That's typically how one would describe a high value man. Wanda said, that's a simp. Are you kidding me? So, no. And Lucky said he's broke. See, now I don't necessarily believe that a high quality man is necessarily broke. I feel like you can be high quality and high value, or you can be high quality on your way to becoming a high value man. It doesn't necessarily mean you're broke. So those are, I'm going to just lay the foundation of like when I talk about high quality, I'm talking about a man that's typically in tune with their woman, right? That's conscious, that's nurturing. We're not nurturing, that's like a feminine term in y'all world, but like they have compassion, right? They care. That's how I interpret high quality men. And the reason why I say high quality, you hear the word quality over quantity, because they're quality. There's not that many men out here that exude the things that I mentioned. Just point blank, period. In my opinion, I have not run into too many men that are alpha men and still are able to like look at you and be like, hey, something's wrong. What's going on? Right? High value men do not care about your day. They don't care how you doing, So that's my take on it. Now, simps. Let's get into what a simp is, right? Like that term is used a lot in this sphere. A simp is someone who shows excessive sympathy or attention toward another person, and is often coined as being too nice, right? I personally, so given that definition and given the fact that I gave the definition of a high quality man and a high value man, I don't believe that a high quality man is a simp. And hear me out. In my opinion, I feel like simps don't necessarily know when to let up, right? Some of them don't take no for an answer, or they kind of like play the victim role sometimes. That is what I envision when you say simp. But when you say high quality man, I'm talking about someone who is not only in tune with their own feelings, but in tune with um, their spouses or their partners. Let's see what y'all talking about in this chat now that I've like laid the foundation. Omega are like an alpha, but more attentive. High quality man equals a man with integrity. Yes, is honest and keeps his word. Absolutely. I totally agree, B. So I did articulate on Shannon's show that typically a high quality man has character, like it has integrity, that all of the things that she laid out, that's typically what high quality men possess. Now, high value men, I feel like they'll get it by any means necessary because they're all about the bag. They're all about the status, and they will shit on whomever gets in their way. Just my opinion, right? All right. Let's see what else y'all talking about. Where are you going to find an alpha man who's not concerned with gender roles? Okay, so Jonathan, great question. We're going to get into, I'm going to do a live entitled like, is there any hope for the modern woman, right? Because I had a couple of people hit me up one day and ask, is it possible to be both modern and traditional? Like, is that a thing? And if you are modern, can you be turned, traditional? Can you be turned out to be a traditional woman? Like, so we're going to get into that. With that being said, I think an alpha man can be with a modern woman. Essentially, a modern woman works, right? Like they're not necessarily stuck in the they're not stuck in the traditional roles. So I say all that to say is you can find an alpha man who's not concerned with gender roles as a man who likes modern women over traditional women. Just my opinion. What else are y'all talking about in this chat? Okay. To reach the top, the man has to be ruthless. There are less men that are ruthless these days. Nurturing and all the stuff is for men that are no. So you mean to tell me a man does not have the ability to nurture and care for their loved one, like their spouse? Like, what? That is asinine. Is Russell Wilson a simp to me? No. I think he is a high quality and a high value man. He's high quality because he is the most desired, like his type is the most desired by women who actually want long-standing marriages and relationships. Right? How many women have said a guy is too nice for them to date? I don't know that that has been my story. They call them Sigma men. I think I have had that down in my notes, the different types of men, and I'll go through it. Girl, that sounds like a whole wish list in 2021. See, I'm for a high quality man too. Okay, let me I'm gonna start allowing people to come in. I just chatted the link so that you all can call in and give your take on whether or not a high quality man is considered a simp. And we can even dig a little bit deeper into high value versus high quality. Let's see. CEO level pay, those men typically have sociopathic tendencies. So ladies got to choose one. They can't get both. You can't get, I don't believe that. I just really don't. You can get both. Let's invite up. TJ.
Oh, you
Hi,
got me in quick.
TJ.
You got me in quick. I wasn't prepared for that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Shout out to you and to Miss Lucky, Nisi Lucky. Um, you know, Interestingly enough, I've had a quote unquote high value man that was my ex husband, my daughter's father, and he was those things that you described. He wasn't the nicest person. He was not person. He was very ruthless. He really was not attentive to the needs of his family in a sense of paying attention to what I needed from him as well as what our daughter needed. So, but again, to his defense, his position was, I'm working so hard to take care of the family to make sure I can provide. But, he was not paying attention to the other things that are necessary in a family. My husband now is everything that you described far as quality. He is not an emotional man, but he's not a sensitive man, but he is sensitive to me. He's sensitive to what my needs are, and he knows what my needs are. Um and he is a hard worker. He is a provider. He is a leader. He is an alpha man. And what's interesting is that I used to think that an alpha man had to go walk into a room, all eyes on me, and that was the only way that you were an alpha. And that's not necessarily so. There is a certain type of a leadership and strength that a man can have without having to sound the alarm that he is in the room. It's kind of like what Trill was on King's Talk last night. I can tell that he is an alpha man, but based on how he presented himself, he is not an all eyes on me, but you gravitate towards him based on how he moves. Quality is more important in a sense. Even my daughter, who's 27, they've been married for 3 years, just had their first baby, talked about what she was looking for in a man, and it had to do with character, integrity, a sense of a provider, a protector, a strong relationship with God, someone that she was attracted to, that she would be attracted to, and necessarily, and what you're attracted to, someone else may not be, but you want to be attracted to them so you can have that relationship. So in the quality, to me, in my opinion, I've had the high value and the high quality. High quality is much more it's not much, yeah, more better for me, because right now I'm in a posture of a housewife, and I've worked all my life. So,
Mm-hmm.
ladies, I think that you really need to do a self assessment as to what's more important to you,
Mm-hmm.
because you know quality is, that's what, in my opinion, you need money. Absolutely. You need money to
Right.
survive. But your man, he's going to show you that he's willing to do whatever it takes legally to take care of his family. And he's going to put you first. Whereas that a high value man may not do that.
Right. And that's not to say that a high quality man can't become high value, right? But
Right.
the
Right.
reason why I said like high quality is supreme to me,
Hmm.
because like that's the foundation of what makes you you, right? That makes you a solid human being,
Yes.
dependable, like all of these things. So I totally agree with you that we should, like, I know high value, high value, high value is what we're preaching and we're screaming from the rooftops, and it makes sense for the age group, right? If you're 30s, 40s, you don't necessarily have time to sift through the fakes and the frauds and see who doesn't have real character and who's just deceiving and all that stuff. You don't necessarily have that time to do that. But if you
Right.
do run into a man that is like that has all those qualities of a high quality man, go with that and money will come. You can get money any old kind of way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, it's funny because when I think about my husband, I guess some people may consider him, to be a simp. I really wouldn't care what you think because, see, I'm married.
Right. So I say he's yours.
I'm married happily. So I would submit to you, you may want to be. So, so
Mhm.
you want to get someone that is in tune with you. And again, I've never been happier. I'm 54 years old, and it took me my entire life to get it right. So, as an alpha type of female myself, I had to take a step back and
Mhm.
allow myself to be led. And once I did that, it was an effortless thing. So again, you want ladies, you want quality, and like Lauren said, the money, y'all can get that together, y'all can grind together, but you want the
Mhm.
character because,
Exactly. It's
like
hard to
Anton,
build character. Yeah.
absolutely. Well, I mean, Anton says, you become, the more money you get, the more of yourself you become. So if you're an asshole at first, you're gonna be an asshole with money. And on that note, I'm out. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Bye
Thanks,
bye.
TJ.
Bye bye.
Bye. Jedi Mike 7.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. I'm glad you're having a second live stream and everything going very well. I'm proud of you. But yeah, I just going to this conversation talking about you saying your definition of simp because I mean obviously just in this culture and YouTube space that obviously simp is become like a meme now that everyone's a simp. Anything, any act of virtue of coming from a man, it's insinuating that that's a simp. But my question I want to pose to you, because I'll be in 2 days, I'll be 23. I mean, it's my senior year in college, and I asked you, can you say that in terms of concept of high value man? 'Cause I do believe this in a sense. Will believe with Anton. I'm watching that. I don't believe there is no such thing as a high value man in his early 20s, especially at 23. So, but my question is then, was that comes in terms of a quality man and in terms of the simp culture? Because in this age, obviously you hear plenty of stories just in college. Someone say, "Well, I went through my simp phase in college and stuff," and then after that, when I got more money, then that's when everything changed. So my question to you is in terms of, can a high quality man be forged in college to be a high value man? And if so, do you think there's a challenge today in terms of the atmosphere that we're in right now?
Yeah, I think you're literally walking down the correct road. To your point, I think men need to aspire to be more men of quality versus value. To like, of course, when you're like in your 20s, you're, unless you walk into money, like you inherit money or you were born into money, 9 times out of 10 you're not going to get into six figures until you're well into your 30s or 40s, right?
Absolutely.
And so yes, during that your 20s, you need to strengthen your, like, show your character, right? Like improve that piece, integrity, your, connect with your emotions, and not even your emotions, but like how are you connecting with other people? Like that's my
Mhm.
thing. And I think it's such a negative, there's like a negative connotation to doing all of those things. Like you said, people call it simp, that he's soft, all of the, he's beta, all of these different terms that they use to label men that are not necessarily shunning women or only looking for a specific type of woman. um that places like a negative name or on that. So
Right.
I think that in your 20s, yes, you should totally focus on building your character and like really getting to know who you are, because essentially that's what's going to get you to those tables. And I mentioned this on Shannon's show earlier, was it's because of who you are that gets you to the tables to make six figures, that gets you in the rooms with the people who make the money, that gets you into the rooms or gets you on the golf course, right? You get to be in those spaces with people because they see something in you. I guarantee you, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, all these people just didn't be like, oh, I'm gonna do this. Like they had to be like invited into rooms as a quote unquote nobody, right? If you want to say either you're high
Right.
value or not, right? So they were not high value at some point, but they were able to go into circles and build that network so that they then can be high value. And so you can't sustain being in those spaces and places without having the character to back it up, without having the integrity to back it up. And unfortunately, that's why women are tripping these days, because it's a lot of men out here that I got money, I got this, but can't depend on them for shit.
Right. But
You can,
but especially in this age, it's like, like in terms of atmosphere in college, we're all cute, but we're broke, And so it comes to that point of, to my like personal opinion, like, listen, as real men, it's a real fortune process. I know that I can check my ego out the door, that knowing that I'm not, a king, or I'm not a high value man, I'm like that in training. Yeah, but I know in terms of the necessary resources I'm building right now, the internships I have in line and stuff, and finishing the last year and everything, getting my bag. I'm now on my own, providing, paying for all my bills and everything. But my point is that I feel that you think that, especially as a black man, is like, if we do, you think that the fact that we're not actually seeing that coming from our fathers first, to not to emulate that in terms of, well, this is just basically being already the environment that I was already conditioned to be the man that I'm following my father to be, because that's where I have my example from, in terms of having emotional control, stability, but also that going to the biggest thing is integrity, because I think in this age right now, we're in a shortcut culture, what quickest thing to the bag, let me get quickest way to get money. But what comes with character, ain't no shortcuts. It just do the work. And that's where the true
Yeah.
confidence and alpha mentality comes from. And I feel that, especially in this culture, we don't praise that, because we don't like to, we don't like process. We don't like to wait in line, or, be in the gym 6 months to actually get that body that we emulate to be. So I just think that, in my personal opinion, that on the men's side, where our priority should be at, is talking about focusing on the character building, focusing on the resources, the environment, but more importantly, the mentality, so that in the position that you are 35, 45,
Mhm.
that you be in a position to be the best husband, best father that you can be than you were in this age, just because you see on Instagram and stuff, and not be, trying to chase clout, but more importantly, chasing the character that you put the work to become, you know?
Yeah. Yep. And that was kind of a good segue into like the next point of it kind of bled really nicely into it, of like how many black men, or just men, well, yeah, how many black men, because we know our white counterparts, they are raised to be, family people, like husbands
Exactly.
and wives.
Right.
But how many black men were raised to be husbands, right? And that goes to your point of like, how to like be in tune with your wife or woman or spouse emotionally, and all of these things. And because most men didn't necessarily grow up in a two-parent home and they were raised by their mom, like where are men supposed to learn how to be good husbands?
Right. That's a question you're posing to me?
Or just you and everybody in the chat too. But like that to me is, to be high quality, to be a high quality man in a marriage means that you had to have some type of foundation, structure, guidance to get you to that point. Otherwise, you're just being led to get the bag, right? Like
Well,
we
I equate that to money, in terms of being like this, in terms of Anton Daniels, what he said, and also just in general, just with millionaire mentality, that there's always that black sheep in the family that starts the generational wealth of the family. And I think that also equates to terms of character, and or just generational curses in the family. For example, the fatherless, families, and in terms of the family unit, then it's like, what, I'm not going to begin child wedlock, I'm actually going to get married, have my children, actually be the man that my father never was. In the absence of him, made me in terms of be the man that he wasn't there for me, I could be there for my child. So, but I think it starts with mindset, to the point where it's like, okay, now that you're adult, I'm not talking about conditioning your children. Obviously, we can't choose our parents, but when you get to adult, then the only person you have left is that, you're a product of your environment, you're a product of the people that you associate with, but more importantly, you're a product of your choices. And I think that with that kind of initiates terms of whether it's, being networking with people, actually being the point of, absorbing actually uh productive content or whatever, to forge yourself as a human being, to be a father and husband and everything. It's a way that, because it's a way that you can break that curse of us, say that there was no man in the house, so I was the man, now my son will be the next one. So,
right.
you know
Yeah. Thanks for your insight and perspective. I'm gonna see what's popping off in the chat. Hey, shout out to Jonathan. Number one, even though I'm not, he disagrees with me, I'm still bae. So thank you, Jonathan, and thank you for the Cash App, y'all. My watch hours ain't up yet. Like, I'm not a monetized channel, but if you do want to support me and the channel, Cash App is in the description, and I think Gail put it in the chat a couple times. So just want to point that out. I see Shannon popped up. Shannon Rawls, what's up? Shout out to you. You are the person that made me want to go live. You had a super dope live earlier, so thank you so much. Let's see. What else are we talking about in the chat? Oh, this is for you, Jedi Mike. Keep building your wealth. So when you hit
absolutely.
30, you'll have Lots to offer. I think Jedi might gonna be all right. Okay, like he already got the game. He's subscribed. Are you probably a Patreon member? If not, like you are tapped into Anton and getting the jewels. So I think he's,
Yeah, I'm slowly getting involved because like I'm kind of new to all this, just the like Lapeef and everything like that. And now like I've been kind of binging through a lot of content and everything, and it's just like, where was this like 6 or 7 months ago? It was here, but I'm like I was not in that space now, but I'm trying to get more involved in it. But yeah, and this is why kind of the things I promote on like on my channel. Like I want to target more younger audience and boy, because like I'm at my age, it's like I feel like we don't have a lot of mentorship in terms of forging them, because just like not saying in terms of dictatorship, but really more of a guide, in terms of being the brother's keeper that I believe at least my father raised me to be, because like I don't feel that this is not having a network of brotherhood that we have in terms of having positive brotherhood, and actually redefining the image of a black man, which is not to me, my personal opinion, I don't think is the black woman's priority to change that image. It's ours, because that's just my personal opinion. But I just feel like with that is that when we have that unit together, that we actually be that wolf pack or whatever to actually promote the image of what the black man is supposed to be, not what the image that we feed into or what just projected to us to be divided as a people.
Yeah. Yeah. Jedi Mike, if y'all haven't subscribed to his channel and spread the news, I'm glad that you're going to be the voice, or you're aspiring to be the voice for the young ones out here. But I got another person in the queue waiting to come up, but always call in anytime.
Yeah, no problem. I'll be here next time. All right.
All right.
Please.
See you. Before I bring you up, Joel, what happened here? Jonathan, you said you were simp. I'm a simp for sending Lauren the Cash App. You are not a simp. You have a special place in my heart. Thank you, Jonathan. Looks like Lauren focus. I'm sorry. I have to say what's up to people in the chat. You came in. What am I supposed to do? All right. Joel, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing? I'm still working.
I see. That's all right. Thanks for tapping in.
No problem. I don't think I've had a conversation with you before.
You haven't.
This is the first.
You haven't. I've seen you on many different channels, but I've never been up at the same time as you. So I'm glad we're having an opportunity to speak this time.
Yes, so you still you talking about the high quality, high value?
Yeah, and then like, do you think that a high quality man is a simp? Because when I explained what high quality was, immediately, oh, that's a simp.
I think I missed the first part, but I mean, if I'm just being honest, there's a lot of ignorant people out here that don't understand certain things, because I can say I do something for my wife, and then people call me a simp. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of ignorance. For example, like I always talk about this. Like when I first jumped into of course, the first person I drew to was Kevin Samuels, but I went to a Discord channel and I was talking to some of these red pill guys, and it was probably about 3-4 months ago, and they were literally having this discussion talking about what a high value dude is, and I kid you not, the conversation went so sideways. You literally had a guy in that conversation saying, well, a serial killer values killing, so is he technically a high value guy? And I'm like, and I kid you not, like these conversations are being had by people. So it just goes to show you the ignorance of certain individuals. But a high quality dude, what exactly was it that you said that they said was simpish or whatever?
Well, I said that high quality man is typically one who's like in tune with their woman's emotions, their compassionate, those kinds of things. What else? Let me go back to my little notes. Oh, I said that he was nurturing, conscious, aware, mindful. He protects, provides, has a connection with his woman. He's a teammate. He's not necessarily occupied by gender roles, and he just understands the need for communication. Like if something has to be done, he communicates with his wife or, you know, his spouse, and you know, gets it done. So that's what I described as a high quality man. And character and integrity is wrapped into that as well. Like, so that's how I described it.
Okay, that's reasonable. Because what people have to realize is that's your definition of the man you want. That's your definition of the high quality man you want. And I think what people don't realize is everyone is a little different. Even though there is a general, you know, preference, it's those little things that everyone varies. You know, I was going to make a dating guidelines book, which I'm still working on. I plan on releasing it. And one of the things in my dating guideline book was literally like, if you can find someone that has roughly 80% of certain qualities, that's your person.
That's
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're not going to be perfect. Like
Right.
nobody's perfect, you know. But it's just like you can't. It's hard to kind of explain to people where it's like some things can be misinterpreted. Like when you were saying like, you know, he's in tune with your feelings and stuff. I understand my girl's feelings.
Right.
You know, because she is a lady. I have a fairly high EQ, but my EQ is fairly higher than most people. You know, I'm a fairly social person, despite being what some people might call a sigma male, where it's just like I do like going off and doing my own thing. I don't have a big circle of friends. I have a very small, you know, my circle is a period. Like I have a very small group of friends that I actually trust. But I have no problem making friends with anyone. You know, I can socialize.
Right.
So I think what they see, like when you say that those kind of things, they think of a guy that's going out and get flowers and doing all that other stuff for a girl that has no interest in him. But it's like, no, like if he's courting you, that's something he might try to do to, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But like I said, it's a part of ignorance where people don't understand exactly, or maybe they lack the ability to understand exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah. Yeah. People in here are saying that the guy I described is a church guy, and I don't know, the church ones be the ones you got to look out for, honestly. That's my experience with church guys, but I'm gonna let that rock. I'm gonna let that slide. But thank you for calling, Joel. Be safe out there. Thanks for calling. I hope this is not the last time.
Of course, I'll probably call in from time to time.
All right.
I'm just working all the time, so unfortunately.
That's all right. Get to the bag. Get the money.
All right. Take
All
it
right. Bye. Y'all are funny. I got my homegirl, Mrs. B Finesse, in here. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, Miss Lauren, how are you? Can you hear me good?
I can hear you well. How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing tonight?
You know, I'm all right. I'm still getting adjusted to the time zone here and trying to stay awake. I promise you, I cannot stay awake past 8 o'clock here. So
Really?
that's like 11 o'clock in Michigan time.
You know what? Let me ask you this, since I know living up north, like half the year is like dark because of the seasons. So how are you getting used to like having all that sun, since it's sunny like all the time, and then in Michigan like half the year is dark because of those seasons coming in? Like have you adjusted to that?
Not really. I haven't. And it's only because I didn't work. I haven't gotten up at like crack of dawn to work out yet. And that's typically when I feel it. Is when I like to work out. So
cool.
Yes,
so,
girl.
We get into your question, right? So were you saying that you had two definitions of it, Lauren, or were you saying that that was your definition?
Well, this is so when I first started out, I gave the definition of the high value man, and then I gave my definition of what I believe to be the high quality man. And I wanted to go into like what the high quality man is, because some would say that it is equivalent to a simp, because they are typically basically conscious, mindful, all of the things that most men say that they aren't or they don't necessarily care about. Like a high quality man to me is a person of like high character, integrity. He's still, in my mind, still an alpha man, but he's more compassionate than a high value man.
Gotcha.
A high value man is all about money, like the salary, the status, like all of those things. And it's not necessarily, doesn't necessarily care that you just got into a car accident and you broke your leg. They just want to like, is the car good? It's not like, are you good? Like, do you need anything? So it's just more like a level of care is different from one man to the other.
Okay. So my perspective of it, because like you mentioned earlier, thank you for the shout out. You said you heard my live earlier today, excuse me, and I was focusing on the question of what is a high value man. And I really just wanted to hear, Lauren, like everybody's perspective. I know everybody has a certain ideal of what it is. So I'm happy that you're actually expounding on this too. From what I was getting from the men that came on the panel, is they were focused on more of, even when they said the word value, it meant something different. So basically, like what you were saying with the quality, when I hear it, I think of the same kind of ideal as you. Like quality to me means, like you were saying, the character, the emotions of a person, like if they're nurturing, all those different aspects, right? And then when you hear value, like you're saying, you're connecting it to like something monetary, something tangible that like you can equate money to or something like that, right? And you know what, it kind of shocked me that most of the men, I think all of them that came on my panel earlier, Lauren, they were saying that to them, they don't really equate value in the name of the high value man to money. To them, it actually would sound like the high quality man. They were mostly saying that it is more of what that the man stands on as far as his principles. It's more of what he's doing for his community and family. The men on my panel were saying that the high value man has nothing to do with money. So I'm wondering what you think about that as far as that aspect, because these were actually men, not women, and everybody else saying it was actually men that were saying to them value means something that's tangible. Have you heard that before with men, or do you normally hear that has to do with money?
That's one thing I didn't mention earlier, but yes, a high value man places value on tangible things, right? Status is based on what other people believe you are, or this, you know, the rank in which you are. Money is tangible. Like these are all things that are based on other people's opinions, views. Whereas a high quality man is, to me, somewhat introspective. It's like, it's very personal. It's very like, how are you in tune with yourself? And it's very surprising. Well, not surprising, because like I discover new words, phrases all the time in the manosphere and all this stuff, right? Like I'm not
new to that, Lauren. So don't quote me on stuff because I don't know about that.
Right. I'm not an expert by any means. So that's why I want to have this conversation, because like, yes, I get it. I understand the arguments and I understand the narrative around high value men. They're necessary. I understand. There's not a lot of men, especially Black men, that are considered high value, especially for putting a salary like threshold or, you know, minimum on there, right? So it's like, okay, well, if you don't fall into the category of a high value man, then what would you fall into? You're still valuable, right?
Interesting.
Just in my mind, right? So you're a high quality. Your quality, you are one of a kind. When I think of quality, I think it's something that's rare, because when you hear the term quality over quantity, there's lots of men out here. But when you say high quality, it's like you are one of a kind and you up there. And I made the statement earlier too, that you can be high quality and high value. Yes. But most of like the best route to being high value is to become high quality first, and then work your way into the money. Because once you, like to Anton's point, once you get money, it just reveals more of who you really are.
More
and
of
if
what
you are an asshole and you don't know how to treat anybody, that's what it's going to be. But if you take the time to work on your character and who you are, how you treat people, how you connect with people, what is your emotional intelligence like, you have a better chance of like holding the high quality, high value like rank a little bit longer than I don't know. These are just my thoughts, right? I'm not a man. I don't know what it's like or anything like that. But to me, I am desiring a high quality man, because money, like I said, money can come. You can get a settlement, you can inherit money, you can invest, you can get there's so many ways to get money.
Get it and lose it. Get it and lose it though. Get it and lose it. Lauren, listen, I have a question for you though. Do you think that the labels matter? So my question to you is, because it was a contention with two of the men on the panel, and one of them said, "I'm not really for the labels." He was saying, "I'm more about the character of the man I am," and then somebody else said, "No, I use labels." So what do you feel as a woman is necessary for the single women out there? Do you really stick to these labels, or are you just kind of it doesn't really matter, I'll take it as it comes? Like, what do you think about that?
I don't the labels don't necessarily matter to me, right?
Okay.
Like I'm not out here like for example, if I were to make a dating profile, I'm not about to be out here and put in my description looking for a high value man. Like one, because don't nobody really
That's so
knows.
stupid. Sorry,
Like,
but I mean it is.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like nobody knows, and they all have their own interpretation. So for me to be like, this is the kind of man I'm looking for, like, no, I would rather look at the qualities of a man.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave an example on Shannon's show earlier.
Uh-huh.
Like there are small things that I would pay attention to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm cutting food, I'm dating a guy, I'm cutting food, I cut my finger, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm bleeding profusely, I cut my finger. If he jokes about it or he doesn't show any care in the world, I ain't gonna say it's a red flag, but I'm about to really give you the side eye that you didn't even show any care. Because like, what if we do? Yeah, you ain't support. There's nothing there. So what if we do end up getting married, get together? I have a baby. I have postpartum depression. Are you gonna support me? Like you wasn't even there for me when I cut my goddamn finger. So
and I don't think men think about that. Like what you just said, I think that's good that you're expressing that, because like some men don't even know, like we pay attention to little stuff like that.
Yeah. So I do look at stuff like that. Like, how do you respond when I'm like, and it's not even like, oh, I had a bad day. Like not that, but like if something like really, I walked into harm's way of some sort, like, we're on the phone, I'm walking to my door, but it looks like the gate is open and I didn't open it. And we're on the phone. I'm like, yo, like, this is weird. And you won't say, back up, hold on, like, give me any insight on how to, if you don't care about my safety in something so minuscule, we all set. Like, so it's a couple more people here. So I'm gonna let them up. Please call back in. I always love to see you. You're always welcome.
All right, bye.
Bye. Uncle Stu, what's good?
What's going on? What's going on? If you want to see my daughter, she'll be on my live tomorrow.
Okay, what time?
6 o'clock.
Okay.
So we're going in on the hard stuff. So get your tissues ready.
I'm looking forward to it. So what are your thoughts?
Well, it's just, I was one of the people on Miss B. Vanessa's panel. These labels and terms that is floating on the internet is not something I ever grew up with. When you really look at the word value, you got to ask yourself, where are you getting your values from? This six-figure stuff, I grew up in New York. So to make six figures in the 80s was nothing. To make six figures in the 90s is nothing. So it all is all based on where you're from. To me, when I'm talking about empowering men, is to level them up intellectually, economically, and sociologically. And so what do I mean by that? If you can barely afford yourself as a single man, you're definitely not ready to embrace a woman. You got to be able to have the money in order to really handle a family. Now, I am not always one for the idealism of me making all the money and she just cook, clean, wash, and sew. I'm the cook in my house, so I don't need a cook. I believe that it's also based on who you are. It's based on what you value, and it's based on you leading. And what is leading? Leading is nothing more than, hey, I'm established. I've proven my established ability, and therefore I am a man who is developed enough to be able to love, appreciate, and cover you. I think one of the most If I had to give a realistic example, I think TJ's husband is the prime example. You know, I
Of a high
believe
value man?
absolutely. Miss B Finesse is another one. Why? Because neither one of these men is intimidated by what their wife do. Neither one is worried about their wife's income. That's the true value of a man.
So I would argue that both of their men are high quality, right? Like,
I'm going to say this because of my background. I told you these definitions are YouTube definitions. When we talk about high value, even according to YouTube, majority of men that are community based, organized based, may not always be on LinkedIn. You see what I'm saying? So
right.
you could get caught up in labels and miss everything else. I've watched rich men not be great fathers. I've watched poor men be the best of fathers. I watched wealthy men be the greatest of fathers, and I watched poor men be the worst of fathers. It's all about the quality of the individual as well as the economics. Now, you can't be on welfare and start talking about I'm alpha, I rule, I do this, because now your economic dependency is upon government, not upon you building. I think when we start talking about high value, I think that's just a way of pushing men to be better than who they are today. So I'm not really, pushing back on that because I do want to see men in a better light and in a better position than they are right now.
Yeah, so because in my field of work, the work that I do, we do start off everything with definition so that we're all on the same playing field.
What
So
field of work are you in so that I
I'm in
can be aligned?
Yeah, I'm in education and I do equity work and I work with principals, superintendents, school districts.
Okay.
And so
So
before
let's
we
go
get
with
into it, because for prime example, like the definition of equity looks different across different school districts or different places, right? Essentially, it's all getting to the same thing, but then you got some words that are built in there that's specific. Like, so it's different for everybody, right?
Correct.
And so the reason why I started this live off with my definitions of like, this is when I'm talking about high value, this is what I mean. When I talk about high quality, this is what I mean. And now that you have these two definitions laid out, let's look at high quality and see if that is equivalent to being a simp, as what the manosphere describes as a simp, right? Just because I give a definition doesn't, like, because I know Kevin Samuels laid out the definition of a high value man. It's a definition. It just gives a baseline from where we're all working with. Doesn't necessarily mean it's true. Doesn't necessarily mean it's right. But we all have to start at a level playing field. So knowing the definition of a high value man and knowing the definition of a high quality man, and let me state this, they're not in competition with one another. Like,
No,
the
they're
high
not.
value man is no less valuable than a high quality man. It's just a matter of like what you're looking for. These are just my opinions, right? And I also said that you can be a high quality man and also be high value, right? You can be both. But I think it is important to distinguish the two, because then you have men, to your point, that are, I'm not making six figures, but I'm a good guy. Oh, you're right. You are a great guy. You are a high quality guy. Like, we're just giving them I don't want to say a box, but we're giving you something to like fit into, because this high value space may not be the space where everybody can fit in, because we've already said that high value, there's not a lot of high value men out here, right? We've already said that the percentage is low. Go ahead.
So that I can be equal with you. Give me your definition of high value versus your definition of quality. I'm in education too. I just no longer have to work for a living anymore. I'm good.
Right. Okay. And then I'll give the definitions, and then you can give your take on it, and then I'll invite some other people up too, because we got a couple people waiting. So high value, it is based on salary. It's based on status. Typically, if you're high value man, you're making six figures or more, and it's not like new money. Like, you've sat on this money, you've earned it, and are used to this money for a number of years, 4 to 5 years, right? You have access to a network that not everybody has access to. You are able to network and be a part of a group of men or other high value men. High quality is you're still an alpha man. Oh, I failed to mention high value men are typically alpha men. Okay. High quality men, they're still true alpha men. They're nurturing, conscious, mindful. They protect, they provide, they have a connection, intimate connection with their woman, meaning they understand the necessity of communication. They're not necessarily occupied by gender roles. They function as a teammate in terms of like getting things done, and they just understand their woman.
Right.
Their emotional intelligence, to add on to that, their emotional intelligence is like top tier, in my opinion.
Okay. I can go with both definitions. Yeah. I can go with both. Especially on the first part. Now you're talking about 5 years. I look at generations, because some of us have generational wealth that's already been set up and placed up. So you're talking about certain people who come from wealth and has that wealth just making money for them without them making the money. So I definitely agree. Again,
all right, we're gonna keep you right here, Uncle Stu.
You want to keep me? Okay.
Go ahead. No, I said we're gonna keep you right here.
That's right.
I'm gonna keep you. All right, hold on. Black belt in a black suit. What's up? How are you? Oh, you're on mute. Gotta unmute yourself.
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm good. Thanks for calling in. What's your take on all of this?
So my take, I was actually on Miss B Finesse's channel as well earlier. I don't make a distinction between high value and high quality. I look at it as high value is an accumulation of 5 distinct traits, which would be, or skills. They would be physical, financial, intellectual, emotional, and social skills. So I don't see how a gentleman could be high value if he does not possess all of these traits. And an example I would give is, for example, with maybe athletes or entertainers, there are some that make tons of money, but we can name plenty of people to where no one would say outside, if you took the money away, that's a quality, I would say that's a quality man worth leading, leading anyone. So for me, it's got to be a combination of things. Money is just the easiest thing that we can measure in terms of on a tangible sense.
I hear what you're saying, but I do want to I don't want to say push back, but I do want to add there are some high value men that lack integrity. They're really good with getting money, and they don't care who they step on to get it.
Right.
They're ruthless. They're you know what I mean? And they know that they got the sauce. They know they got it. They can have any woman in the world. They told this high value title or title out the wazoo, I'm high value. This is what you need to do for me. There are men out here that think that way. And so that's why I think that there is a distinction. I agree with you in that in order to it's not necessarily in order to be high value, you have to be high quality, but I do think it's a good track to becoming high value if you are high quality. But I do believe that there are some high value men that got to that point without being high quality. Does that make sense? And that's what I was trying to articulate to Jedi Mike was, because he's young, yes, definitely, set yourself up so you can be successful, but focus on becoming a high quality man, because the money will come once you follow the steps that you have in place to get to your end goal. I hope that makes sense.
It does make sense.
Let me just say this. Then I'm gonna let you go, Black. Basically, it goes to that simple biblical principle. What is it that a man can gain the whole world, lose his very soul? So any man can make money. Any man can manage money. The question is, what is he actually doing with that money? Money is only going to reveal the intimate character of that person. So if you're a sorry characteristic person without money, you're going to be a sorry characteristic person with money. It's only an amplifier. That makes sense. I
Mhm.
mean, we just discovered that what 2-3 days ago with someone who can make money but got character flaws. I mean, serious ones. And we see
Yeah.
that all over the place. So I think that when we're really having these conversations, and I definitely understand giving multiples of definitions, we got to ask, are we developing both types of men on a daily basis? Are we developing to have the character that we're looking for while at the same time producing the economic wealth that they need in order to sustain themselves? So I think it's not a singular projection, but a dual projection.
Mm. Okay.
I
Black
was just
belt.
going to say, yeah, I was going to say that I agree with you in that, you cannot ignore integrity. However, at the same time, I always say I'm a tax attorney. So I always say in my experience, the gentlemen who, whether they're other attorneys or clients I meet, there's not a lot of gentlemen I meet, and there are some, but there's not a lot who I would say they just lack all forms of integrity, or even someone I would consider that's just disingenuous or untrustworthy. And the reason why I say that is because you're just not going to succeed generally like that in business for 90% of people who do become successful. They're not going to get there by cheating everyone else. Some can do that, but very few can. And I think having that integrity, because hey, I'm going to have to come back to these people one day again to do business. That alone is going to put you in a better mind state, which goes to that intellect and emotional skills of understanding, hey, why am I going to screw this person for $10 when I can go back and do business with them for the next 10 years and make $1,000, as an example.
Did you forget that American Greed is based off of that? The show American Greed is based off of that.
Oh yeah, it's based off people. Yeah.
That's right. See,
Never seen that show.
you
Never
got to
heard.
remember that you're only looking at 10% of people that can actually produce that kind of wealth. Everybody is not going to be able to produce that kind of wealth. But if I can get people to produce 6 figures based on where they at, then guess what? They have a better chance at surviving, living, and doing what needs to be done. That's why it's just a general terminology of 6 figures, and everyone has the ability to be community oriented. So it's really about pushing and getting people not to follow the victim narrative, but to continue to push their trajectory up. This is why, again, I argue when I say there's two types of men. And when you want to look at an example, that's why I said I'm going to use TJ's husband. I'm going to use Miss B's finesse husband, who are what? Making sure the bills getting paid. They making sure their home is being taken
So they're
care
high
of.
quality, right? They're high
If you
quality.
want to use it that way, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wait, can I just ask a quick question? What is it that the
Mhm.
high value man has that you said the high quality man doesn't, Lauren?
More
Your
money.
definition.
It's the money. It's the money and status aspect.
So the high quality man, I mean, just for the sake of this, he's sub 100 grand.
Could be, yeah. He could make 100, or less. He's just typically, and he could be making 6 figures, but he's like in the first year or two of making 6 figures, right? Fresh money, new money, and not necessarily established in that network of high value men yet. Like, I think there's some dudes that have to be paid a little bit to be considered high value, right? You have to be a part of this network, and the network has to recognize you and be like, I vouch for this person. He's high value. This is my opinion.
No, that makes sense. I don't know. That's hard. That's real hard for me to think that the high value man doesn't have at least most of those qualities at the same time.
Some don't. You're just probably one of the good guys. But I'm gonna take one last thing, and then I have 2 other ladies that are waiting to come up. So I'm gonna let y'all have y'all last word, and then I'm gonna have them come up. But go ahead, Uncle Stu, and then I'll give it to you, Black Belt.
Yeah, I was just going to say what she's referring to, Black Belt, is the fact that a man who is high value and can contribute, he's on a whole different level than, let's say, a truck driver or someone that owns an auto shop. That high value man can make international moves that somebody who just made six figures cannot. That's the major difference.
Yep. You can be both. All right, Black Belt. Anything? Any
All
last
right.
words?
Y'all have a
Thanks,
good
Uncle
one.
Sue.
Okay.
All right.
Now we could leave it there. I think I just need a little more definition to the specific income, just because a high value guy, I'm not even gonna say 500 grand, but even just something at 150. I mean, that's a completely different quality of life that you're able to provide. Your
Absolutely.
family, a woman, than someone making 80 grand or much less, something like 40 grand, but they're quote unquote high quality. But I said, I don't want to take up too much time. I appreciate you letting me on.
Thanks for calling. Call in anytime. I'll see you.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. We got Candid Ann.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Oh, look, you're perfect. I need your mic. How are you?
Well, thank you. Just a quick question or two. I want to know what you defined a high value man, and you also defined a high quality man, but what is a simp? Because it seems like every time, I want to know what's a simp, because it seems as if, and I could be wrong, as soon as a man shows some kind of kindness or any kind of, I guess kindness, they're defined as a simp. So I just want to know, what exactly is a simp?
It's basically a man who's too nice to maybe someone who doesn't reciprocate the same feelings, or but just shows excessive sympathy or empathy toward another person is what a simp is. And I also, if I could take a step further, I think most confuse a simp as someone who is in tune with their emotions, or is able to relate or identify with women's emotions.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So I want to know, I've been on YouTube for a long time, and is Kevin Samuels' definition of a high value man, is that the gold standard? Or are we here on YouTube deciding that he is, like, his definition is the only example that's the gold standard?
I'm going to say yes, outside of YouTube and maybe on Instagram and any other. He's been on lots of podcasts. Like, I am not the holder of the high value man definition, but he is the one that most people reference often. Like, they say, Kevin Samuel said this is what it is. And I'm like, okay. I'm one of those people that's like, if it don't apply, let it fly, or, bite off what you can eat and then leave, the rest.
Right. I was happy to see Mr. Black Belt ask a couple of questions there regarding the definition of a high value man, because I've heard about, Kevin Samuels quite a bit. And I just feel as if Jonathan, I think, also made this point, as well as the previous guy, I can't remember his name, that only 10% of the men are going to actually meet that criteria of Kevin Samuels' definition, which I don't know if I completely agree with, but I'm going to rock with it, being that we're here on social media and that's what most people agree with. So only 10% are going to make that amount of money. But my question to you is, like, I'm married, right? So I've been married for a long time. So I guess I'm out of the running. Who cares
I'm unmarried, yep.
Right. So would you prefer, like, as you have Kevin Samuels' definition of a high value man and a high quality man, would you prefer a high quality man, or would you prefer a valuable man? Or is it high value and high quality?
I would prefer a high.
Okay.
I would prefer high quality. And the reason being is because I believe that's the characteristics of a high quality man are foundational, and they're less they're less tangible, right? I feel like a high quality man can become a high value man if they.
But if he never does, right? If he never does, are you okay with that? Okay.
Yes. And that's only because I don't have like a number. To Black Belt's point, he's like, I need an exact number of like what would be considered high value. Like, I wouldn't know. Like, I'm sure I could look it up, but I don't have the answer. I just said 6 figures, and I'm rocking with that. So he can make 150K, match with I'm not gonna put how much I make, but match with my salary. I think we'd be good.
What about if he made 80 or 70? Would it be okay with that? He made 70, 80, you'd be okay?
Not necessarily. I mean, would I be okay? We would be okay, but I would hope that he has aspirations to make more.
I asked this question because it seems like on one side, Kevin talks about how most men are not going to make that amount of money, but over and over and over and over again, the women that call in are demanding men to make this kind of money. And I'm like, when are we going to bridge the gap? Like, we have police officers, truck drivers, all kinds of people out here that are amazing, great men, and that get left behind because they're never going to reach this potential. And so I'm just, I just want to ask that question, maybe open up the conversation to like, are women going to finally say like, you know what, we can lower our standard a
I
little
think,
bit?
and to that point, Candid Ann,
Mhm.
I would be willing to lower my standard if more men focused on becoming high quality. And let me
Gotcha.
tell you why. Is so many people, so many men are focused on, I got to get to the bag, get to the bag, get to the bag, that they're not necessarily developing themselves. They're not developing their character, their integrity. They're not dependable. Like, I can, like, that's the reason why we have so many alpha women, because women have to step up and play the role of a man, because a man is not necessarily
Right.
tapped into those qualities that I described as a high quality man.
Right.
So even if a man does not make whatever money, that however amount they have to make to be high value, but if they are a solid dude, right, they treat their women nicely, they're able to,
Right.
just care, genuinely care, and act like it, I
Right.
think we'll be fine. But there's not a lot of men out here that take the time to get to not only know themselves, but get to know their spouse or the person that they want to be with. It's
And so
like, what can you do for me? Right?
And so because they're not taking that time to grow themselves, we're defaulting to, well, then he at least better make the bag.
Right.
Is that what's going on?
Right. It's like, if he ain't gonna treat me right, he better at least have some money, right? Like, that's what women are saying. And so that's why the narrative is to men, like, you better get your money up, because they know how men are. Sorry, man. But
all right, just a quick question. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks for waiting. I appreciate
Take care.
it.
Of course, no worries. Take care, guys.
Bye. Oh my gosh, that was so good. Blind guy, his wife, their life. How are you?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. Thanks for calling in. Thanks for waiting.
No, you're fine. We were, doing nighttime stuff, and I was like, "Oh, let's pop in for a minute and say hello and all of those good things." So, congratulations on live streaming. Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you for calling in. This is new, but my second time going live, so I hope we get better every time. Thanks for rocking with me. So, what do you think about the topic?
Okay, so the topic is a high quality man a simp, specifically that topic, or just the conversation that's been going on so far?
Anything that's on your mind.
Okay. Corey, did you want to start, or do you want me to start? What do you want to do?
Well, I figured since it was the topic, I know this is
There's been men, women, everybody on here, so you know.
I mean, like I said, it's all in the perception and definition of what you want to call a simp. If being a simp means taking care of your kids like you're supposed to, and like spending quality time with them, call me a simp. If being a simp is taking the time out to like I said, I am blind, but my father was a mechanic, a marine engine mechanic for years, and he taught me how to work on my own car. So if me being able to diagnose a problem for my wife, for the car, for my wife, and then trying to reason through it and fix it and get it fixed, then call me a simp. If high quality means I'm going to the grocery store, taking a walk with one of my children to the grocery store to pick up some groceries, and I'm walking back with the groceries, so my wife doesn't have to call me a simp. If I'm helping out with homework and washing dishes and things of that nature, and to help out around the house, if that's call me a simp, because I think some of the things is just what you're supposed to do when you're in a relationship with somebody. You're supposed to try to be as balanced and equal as possible. And of course, we have a unique situation, so it's just certain things that I'm not going to do. I'm not going to go drive and pick up the kids because that's a disaster waiting to happen on the 6 o'clock news. I'm not going to, there's certain things I'm just not going to be able to do because I can't see, but the things that I can do, I will do. And if that means I'm, being a simp, then I guess that's what I am. I wear the badge because like I said, I'm not going to stop being a concerned father. I'm not going to stop being, a participating husband in certain arenas. Like I said, I was raised by my dad. He did the same thing. He made lots of sacrifices.
And likewise for me, I was raised, by my mom and dad as well. And my dad was like, yeah, he did a lot of stuff for us as well as provided, which is what Corey does for our family. So my dad was like similar to Corey, where he did a lot of things. Oh my goodness. Like we could take a Barbie to him and be like, can you fix the leg? And of course he would fix it. He wouldn't say take it to your brother or whatever. But yeah. But my dad, so you didn't have brothers and sisters?
No, I didn't. But I mean, I got 3 daughters now, and have I had to have a tea party? Yes. Have I had to play with stuffed animals? Yes. Have I had to play with dogs? Yes. But not because I was forced to or because my wife told me I had to. I did it because I wanted to, because that was just quality time I was spending with my children.
I think our answer then is
I don't think
a quality man, high quality and simp are just not in the same. It's not like
it's just terms. It's just terms based on the perception of the person that's saying it. And when somebody uses the word as far as simp to describe the behaviors of an active father or a participatory husband, then that just means that they have some disdain for that particular type of role that either they can't play, don't play, or haven't played, and they don't have the understanding to having been in that type of position to understand it's okay to do those things and you're not selling yourself short. Now, if my wife tells me, here, take this gun and go rob a bank for the family, and I go do it, and I end up I'm simping hard. Then,
right?
Yeah,
then you were simping.
If she says, hey, can you go with the oldest child? Can you go to the grocery store and pick up some milk and some butter and some sugar and some things that she needs to cook for her? I got to eat too. And with the way she cooks, yeah, if I could run to the store, I would run. But
we do have traditional roles. I will say that. Whereas, Corey is a provider, I'm like, the homemaker and whatnot, and then we fill in between. I'll say that. So definitely there. Did you have any specific questions though? I don't know.
No, I didn't have any specific questions. You answered it. It was more so because I learned about a high quality man today. Right. I was on somebody else's live and they were talking about the difference between high value and high quality. And when they were describing high quality, I was like, wait a minute. These are all the things that people call a simp. Like, wait a minute, let's talk about this. Let's unpack this. So you all explained it when, talked about it. And I mean, I agree. Like, as long as you're like, and when it was asked of me, like, do I want a high value versus a high quality? I was like, I want a high quality. Right. And then you can give me high value, right? Like high value is not the end goal for me at all. I mean, it is the end goal, but like it's not like the number one thing. Let me say that. Like women do love money, women want more. I understand that, but I would be okay if he did not make 500K, right? Yeah. That's fine.
So, I think that's the other part of it too. I think it depends on, the things you actually like. I think a lot of us, we just think we like things because we see them. So let's say, for example, one thing that Corey and I really love to do is take cruises. However, once we had our children, started having children,
especially that third one.
Yeah, we realized that, okay, you know what? We need to do different vacations.
When nobody's going to drown.
Until they go overboard. Yeah, until they get a little bit older. So does that mean, yep, now we got to go to Great Wolf Lodge or Disneyland? And it's like, okay, I don't want to go those places, but we did.
And I'm the one teaching them how to swim. And so
right.
So and like I said, I don't know if I'm simping there too, but
well, no, of course not.
Not wanting my kids to drown is I think that's pretty dope for a father to do.
And let me just say this. Well, of course, we're being facetious, saying, if that's a simp, if you want to say this or that. What we're basically, I think both of us are saying, because we've been together very long time, and we spend a lot of time together. So we have lots of discussions. We're not confused about well, what does Corey really like? Well, what does Laquita really like? We're pretty set. So for us, it's more like we understand that relationships, especially family relationships, you just really have to value every aspect, so that you have to look at it's not just the money. Because do our children take ballet and piano and violin because we have a lot of money, or because we have certain things we want them to do and we want them to have certain experiences? You know what I mean? And so it's like, do we live in a certain place because we want our children to be able to walk outside during the day or night and feel comfortable? Or is it because we think that's what society says? It really is your personal thing. So like
And
for
it's based on
Corey,
experience too, because like I said, the question I always have is when people say those types of things, it's like, did they have a high quality man in their life? Did they ever see these behaviors
do they
themselves? Do
understand?
they
Yeah.
understand that this is just some of the things that people call simping? It's just basic human concern for another human that you helped to create or that you were in a relationship with.
Yeah.
So I think that's another way to look. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
It's all right. I cut you off all the time.
Oh.
And we talk in tandem a lot. So
Yeah.
but yeah, just I definitely say it's a great conversation that where people should also look at what can I actually look at for practical reasons in relationships.
Right.
So rather than me saying, dang, Corey, I ain't been flued out in a long time. What I mean, that's like a saying, like,
Yeah,
flued
that's the
out,
thing.
like,
That's the thing. That's the
right?
thing.
What does that mean?
Somebody flying
flying
you out,
out, somebody flying
or like, yeah,
okay.
right. So what I'm saying is, instead of me saying, I ain't been flued out, then I also have to say, okay, realistically, where are we right now? What is our situation? No, we can't. Like when we went to Disney World, we didn't have plans to take the kids there. We wanted to go, Corey and myself, to a different place in Orlando or for business, for work. And we were like, oh, dang, but we got these kids. So what do we have to do? Book a resort, book Disneyland tickets, book excursion stuff, and figure out what else we were going to do. And, high quality lifestyle is what people have to look at. What's for you? What do you like? And we're going to leave it there because we know you have other folks looking at us. I mean, looking at you like, when are we going to get a turn? This has been great.
Yes, thank you so much. Please call in anytime. I'm with you. Get flued out, right? Like no. But yes, I'm with y'all. Thank you so much. And please come back.
Yes, we're watching in the background. We're finishing up work and listening in the background. But thank you so much. Have a good night.
You too. Bye. Mr. Shannon himself.
Hey, you.
Hey. So y'all, before he starts talking, he's the reason why I've decided to go live tonight, because I was finna get in my bed and binge watch Queen Sugar that I was doing before, but I was on his live, and he started this conversation today, and I was like, yo, I need to unpack this. And I didn't want to take your show over. So thanks for joining me.
No, thank you for extending the conversation. There's a lot of things that we needed to continue talking about. I'm glad we brought it here.
Yeah. So you was live in the chat. What?
Because you have a good chat. Your chat is popping right now. Everybody in the chat is popping. My guy Jonathan is in there. He's talking.
Jonathan's going in.
Yeah, I love it. But just a few things. So, and you had some callers come up and they were asking a few questions, and I just want to kind of help level set a few people so they understand what we're talking about. First thing is simp, right? So, to the question of the night, is a high quality man a simp? The answer is no. The reason why is because anybody could be a simp, even a high value man. In fact, oftentimes a lot of high value men are simps. It's a lot of people who check off all the boxes who actually still simp. Simping is an old school term, came from pimping way back in the day in the 70s. It's actually, a lot of people think that simp is short for simpleton. It's not. It has nothing to do with simpleton. Simp is a flip word of the word pimp. And so a simp, and I think it came out of the Bay Area, is somebody who does way too, in simple terms, does way too much to get an outcome that they can't get naturally. So it's not somebody who just does nice things. A lot of people say, oh man, you know what? Am I a simp because I'm just being nice and I'm just trying to take care of my kids, or I'm just feeding my girl, or I'm trying to do something? No, that's just you being nice. But if you're doing that so you can get some sex that you otherwise wouldn't get, then yes. If you out there, you whining and dining, you buying gifts, you doing all this extra stuff. If a girl calls you, at 2 o'clock in the morning after the club is over and she wants you to bring her a pint of ice cream, and you do it, you jump out of bed and you usher on over to 7-Eleven, get a pint of ice cream and bring it to her and say, I just, because I care about you. But you really want to have sex with her, and you're simping at that point. Simping is usually somebody that's doing way too much, expecting an exchange of something that they can't get otherwise. It's not just somebody doing something nice. It's somebody doing something because they can't get what they can't get something that they would otherwise get naturally. And so, like, when you hear a lot of guys that's simping or saying things that to a woman, or doing the extra flowers, or doing all the extra stuff that they're doing, and they can't, for men, most often it's sex. They can't get the sex on their own, volition, then yeah, you're a simp at that point. So I just want to be clear so everybody understands what simping is. And, it's not just about being nice. And so the answer is yes. A high quality man can be a simp, but so can a high value man. Anybody can be a simp. You could be a multimillionaire. If you got somebody, if you out there if you buying Mercedes Benzes and houses and doing all this other kind of stuff, but you're not getting the outcome you want, and you're doing all that because you think that that's going to buy the outcome, then you a simp.
But do you believe that a high quality man is more likely to become a simp over a high value man?
No, not necessarily, because it's so let's talk about that. High value. Now, high value man. So a lot of people is like, what would you like? I didn't know that you learned about the term today, or you kind of like really dove into it today. So high value, like I said on the podcast, high value, the term high value man, those 3 words was created by women in the 80s, like when I was a young boy. So that term was created by women. And as I laid out earlier, there's been 2 books written about it. It was a book written last January, 2020, and it was a book written in 2016, right? 5, almost 6 years ago, about high value men. I think one of your callers, she asks, is Kevin Samuels' definition the gold standard? The answer is yes. And the reason why is because it's currently unchallenged. Kevin took that term that's been around for 2 decades, almost 3 decades, almost 3 decades, and put what he calls framework around it. And so people can kind of understand. It's a term that's everybody's already understood, but nobody really was able to kind of like pinpoint the details. And Kevin just put the details on it so people could kind of understand it. So it is currently the gold standard, and it's the gold standard primarily because of the keyword term, value.
Yeah.
Value, you do not get to define value. Like, I got an iPad right here, right? I don't get to determine the value of this iPad in the marketplace. I got to sell this. I got to sell this iPad based on supply and demand. How many people are out in the world that wants an iPad Pro, 12.9 inch, and I got to sell it to them for what I can possibly get. I can't say I think this iPad is worth $10,000. It won't sell. Some people try to do that, but I don't get to determine the value of this particular iPad. We don't get to determine the value of ourselves. The marketplace determines the value of yourself. And that's why a lot of women think that they can say, well, I'm a 10. What says who? What says me? Yeah, but the marketplace don't say that. Some men feel that they're a 10 in all the categories that men are required. No, brother, you don't get to determine if you're a 10 to women. Women determine if you're a 10. The marketplace determines if you're a 10. Men determine if women are a 10. The marketplace determines your value. And so when Kevin laid out those guidelines, currently they're undisputed. And so that's why they're the actual gold standard. Now, here's the thing, quality. So we're talking about subjective versus objective. So quality is a subjective term. That's usually from the eyes of yourself. Objective is what high value is. You don't get to determine. That's not from you. That's predefined. But quality, Lauren, you believe what's quality to you is not necessarily quality to Lucky. It's not necessarily quality. It's not your quality is not necessarily the same as what Gail thinks quality is. Gil
Right.
Lockett thinks. Everybody has different qualities of what they believe is important to them. And so you get to determine the quality of what's of a person based on what's important to you. And that's a subjective term. And that's why a lot of people like to redefine high value man to make it
fit.
work for them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know, well, Kevin says you got to make a certain amount of money. Well, no, I don't think that. I think you can make $60,000 and you'll be a high value. No, that's not how it works. That's value. Quality, yes, but value, no. And the reason why, and I think he had a brother up, he was asking, well, what's the number? The number is $10,000 a month. And the reason it's that number is because there's three main things that humans care about. Three things that human beings care about: their family, and their two most prized possessions, usually homes and cars. So after that's the biggest investment that we have: our automobile, the house that we live in, and in our family. In America, 90% of the counties you can purchase a home, a 4-bedroom home in 90% of the counties in America if you make $100,000 or more. So if you make $10,000 a month or more. So if you generating $10,000 a month or more, you can generally live anywhere in America in a 4-bedroom home and be comfortable.
Right.
And so that's why that's the number. So it's not. And so he was saying, well, 500,000 is a lot different than 150,000. The quality of life is different. It is. Absolutely. It's the difference between a Mercedes-Benz and a Rolls-Royce.
Yes.
But both of them are still luxury cars.
Right. That's true.
Yeah. It's a huge difference between a Honda Civic and a Mercedes-Benz. You know what I'm saying? But if you bringing in 10 grand a month, you're gonna have central AC and heat. You're gonna have all your bills paid. You're gonna be able to live comfortably. Generally, in most counties, 90% of America, where 90% of the people can't do because they don't make $100,000 or more. And so that's where that comes from. And so I just wanted to put that out there to try to help some people understand exactly what the difference is between high value and high quality. This can a simp be a high quality man, or is a high quality man a simp? Well, he could be, and so could a high value man as well. Yeah.
Thanks for clarifying that. And I think the people in the chat and the people watching, I appreciate that as well. I definitely heard the term high value before, right? I'm familiar with that, but it was the high quality piece. I was like, okay. But then there was a little bit of promise to me too, because to your point, we do typically find men try to redefine high value to fit their situation. And what I'm trying to say is 9 times out of 10, the men who do that fit very well into the high quality man's definition, right?
Because it's easier to become quality. It's easier to adjust the things necessary for Lauren. What is Lauren like? She likes long walks in the park. I like long walks in the park. Lauren likes home cooked meals. I like to cook. Lauren likes
I think there's some.
Go ahead.
I think there's some standard qualities of a high quality man. Like it's not just what Lauren believes, right?
Oh yeah.
But I do believe, like I understand why we're preaching and we really highlight high value man and really making it plain to women as to whether or not you are able to get a high value man or not. I understand why we do that, but I think more men need to be aware of like what it takes to be a high quality man, because I forget her name, who called in, I was saying like, I would be okay with the man who makes 80 if he was a high quality man. I would be okay if he made 75, not 70, 75 or 90 if he was a high quality man. But because most men don't know what high quality is, it's very hard for me to be like, I'll lower my standards or I'll like throw that preference out the window, because they lack so much things that I feel like are essential into being like a solid individual. Can I depend on you? Are you a protector? Are you a provider?
We're
like,
modern men.
Yes,
a lot of the younger men have that issue. The older men, you don't really run into that because we grew up in a different era. But the younger men, they don't understand a lot of the things that's necessary. And that's why, as you mentioned earlier in your podcast, do men even know how to be a husband? I know they know how to be boyfriends. I know they know how to have sex. I know they know how to date you. But do they know how to be a husband? Do they know what's required of them to become a good husband? And once you know that, gentlemen, then at that point you start diving deep into the quality side of life, and women will start labeling you as a high quality man. But if you just know how to be a boyfriend and know how to just do things and be kind of like, lofty about life, then quality is going to be kind of hard to obtain.
Yeah.
And then you could probably forget about, well, no, I'm gonna take that back. I was gonna say you could forget about becoming a high value man, but that's not necessarily true, because you can skip the qualities and go straight to the high value side.
Precisely.
You just be a high value asshole.
Precisely. Exactly. Yes. Man, thank you so much. Everybody in the chat talking about Lauren want her church man and all that stuff. we can unpack church men and relationships in church on another show, but they not the end all be all. Let me tell you that right now. But I appreciate you, Shannon, for hopping in. Thank you for pushing me to continue this conversation, and I'm sure this won't be the last of it. But yeah.
You got some more people in the queue. I'll let them up.
No, I don't have anybody in the queue. You're my last one. I was gonna wrap it, and this is good because, like I said, you were the one who started me wanting to start this live, and so you ending it is the perfect ending to wrap it up. You set the tone. You set everybody straight. You said this is what it is. This is what it ain't. And yeah, I appreciate it. Lauren, Jonathan is a fool. Lauren is the only modern woman I'd wife.
Are you modern? Do you believe that you're a modern woman, Lauren? So let me be clear. So a lot of women are like, what is a modern woman? Like a woman of today? No, it means, are your values aligned with traditional women, generally the women like your grandmother, your great grandmother, even your mother in some cases? Or do you believe in more modern standards of women's liberation and living and boss up and whatnot?
No, I think I say this. I think I'm a hybrid leaning more towards traditional. And the reason why I say that is because I have a desire to be a traditional woman. Like I want a wife, really. I want to be able to maintain a household and not have to worry about all the other crap of like, I want to work. I want to go up the ladder. I want to, like, I've been there, done that. Like I've led a whole department at a university. I've had staff members report to me. I've done everything that you can think of. It was fun while it lasted, right? I want to be with a man who's like, I want a traditional wife. So I am going to go live and talk about, is there hope for modern women? And is it possible for a modern woman to kind of like become traditional?
You still didn't explain your hybridness. You told me about the gasoline side, but you didn't tell me about the electric side. So I hear why you want to be traditional, but where's the modern side of you?
That is my and I'm being very transparent. I think it is my independence level that is going to get me in trouble because I have been single for a while. I've okay, let's be honest. I really wasn't trying to get into this because
we don't have to. I just want you can just talk about it and it'll lead into the next podcast.
It's a lie for another day. But like I had a wake up moment I was 24, 25. And I was like, why am I waiting for a man to do the things that I want to do, like buy a house and do all these things? So I started to pave the way and do things that typically people wait for marriage for. And I was like, why am I waiting? Like, let me just do it. And because I went through all of these things, like, there's this sense of like, I'm independent. I've done it before. I'm able to, and like, that is a mindset that's going to need to shift. And I understand that. And so that's really the basis of my channel is like,
how'd that work out for you?
How it's not working out clearly because I'm still single. Like what? But that's the purpose of my channel is for people to kind of see the journey and the transformation. Like there is, to me, because I posed the question for the next live of like, is there hope for a modern woman? To me, the answer is yes, there is hope for the modern woman. Like it's not, I'm single, but it doesn't mean that nobody's stepping to me and like trying to get my attention or anything like that. You know what I mean? Right. And so it's not like all hope is lost. And and I'm not like trying to, the picture that everybody paints, like if you're this way, you'll never find anybody. Well, I kind of have options, but like, you know.
Well, no. But you're in what we call the danger zone, and you're early in the danger zone, right? If you don't mind me asking, you're in your early 30s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're good. You know, after 35, 36, that's where you need to be worried,
Yeah,
because that's
I
where you
got
start
some
taking
time
on the
before
women's
I'm
life.
35.
But the reality is this: I wouldn't call you a hybrid. I would say you're more of a convert. You tasted the side of the independence and the whole, you listen to all the Beyonce songs, and you realize, you know what, I was probably sold, a bill of goods that didn't really work out. And now I'm reconsidering what I was doing in my 20s. Now I get it. And when you were 24, you had this wake up call and said, man, well, I need a man to do for me what I could do for myself. And you ran out and you probably bought a lot of property, and you went out and became the boss and the head of the department at the university. You did all of that stuff. And then every night you wake, well, not every night, but you'd wake up one day and
There
say,
were some nights.
you wake up and say, well, damn, well, hold on. I thought this was supposed to be, and it didn't exactly pan out like you thought. And the smart women, because oftentimes you can't, as they say, can't teach an old dog new tricks. Like for me, it's hard to teach me an old dog. It's hard to teach me new tricks. I'm kind of set in my ways. For women, Black women in particular, it's really tough. As I said before, a doctor once told me, in order for adults to really make a change in their life, some calamity must happen. Generally, when somebody's obese, it takes a doctor to tell them that they're going to die in 6 months for them to get into the gym.
Well, the calamity for me was, girl, you just entered into your 30s and you still single. Like it, I mean, and so it took a life, like a light bulb for me.
But that's not enough for a lot of women. A lot of women, and and a lot of women still believe that they can just go pick a man off the man tree when they're well into their 50s. And the 50-year-old women aren't telling them how lonely it is up there. They're telling them, girl, come on up here. It's fine. Everything, the air is clean. Life is great up here. Come on, join the club. Be part of the Golden Girls. We got Blanche over here. You come over here and just be part of us, and you can hang out with us all day long. And when they get up there, they're like, damn, what happened? But it's too late at that point. And so I'm glad women like you and a channel like yours is going to be able to explain to ladies early, before it's too late, that they can make a change. So shout out to you for that.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go live and get into all that stuff, because there's other things outside of me just being single. But your girl was fat, okay? Like, well, fat in my mind, but there's bigger women that were out there than me. But
were you in the 200s?
No.
No, okay.
Not even 190, but that it was still big. I was close. All right. So I'm gonna get into that in a different live. But if you haven't, shameless plug, y'all, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when I post a vlog or a story. Every Friday I try to like post like a workout mini video of like just me working out. It's more so accountability for me, but y'all can kind of see me go along on my journey and all that stuff. So I'm all about transparency, and we can continue to have this conversation. Thank you, Shannon, for coming.
Yes, ma'am. Appreciate you having me.
I'll see you.
All right.
See you soon. All right. Y'all, thank you. That I am cracking up. I was a big girl. What do you describe as a big girl? Thank you. Hello. I was thick, not fat. Okay. Thank y'all for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed it. There we go. It's because I was focused on the bag, right? I was stressed. Your girl was stressed. We're gonna get into it. Thanks for tuning in, and make sure y'all hit that notification bell so y'all know the next time we'll go live. Oh, before I go, mark your calendars for October 30th. We're gonna go live, me and Lucky, at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday, October 30th. Shoot your shot with Lauren and Lucky. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be right here on this channel. So yeah, I really appreciate y'all. Thank you, Freezy, my guy. Wait, that's not Freezy. This is Freezy, my guy. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, shoot your shot with Lauren and Lucky. It's happening. All right. I'll holler at y'all. Thank you so much. Y'all have a good night. Bye.